Welcome back to Lighting the Way. I'm your host, Justin Bird. Today we have a great show planned for you. The month of April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month, so we thought it would be great to invite two of SafeLIGHT's teen ambassadors onto the show to discuss this further. Please welcome teen ambassadors Alexa Guzman Villanueva and Yadira Padilla. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. How are y'all doing today?
Doing good. Thank you for having us.
Of course. Yeah, welcome. So, what are some distractions, just diving right into it, as teen drivers, what are some distractions that you see teens doing while driving?
Well, I think a pretty obvious one is listening to loud music. I know many teens, especially myself, I love listening to music.
Yeah.
And sometimes teens get distracted by blasting it and putting it at full volume, and sometimes they do get distracted with that.
Okay.
I feel like a common distractions is like friends and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of us don't consider how our friends really tolerate our actions and influence us into doing things maybe we shouldn't be doing on the road.
Yeah, so that kind of just almost impacts your driving.
Yeah.
What would you say is a concern of yours while driving?
I would say a concern is being focused as well, because there's a lot of things that can distract you, like your phone, wanting to text or check a quick message when you get a notification, or again, like the music, surroundings, like if you hear car horns or just stuff like that, making sure that you're focused on just the road, that can be a distraction.
Okay. How about yourself?
I feel like especially when you get used to driving, tunnel vision is a big one. Like sometimes you feel like you're not focused on the road, and as my mother says, 1 second you're distracted and you've hit someone or you've caused an accident or something.
Yeah,
like that.
when you're driving, accidents happen in a split second, right?
Yeah.
So to that point, are there any techniques or any things that you've learned that will help prevent you from being distracted?
I think a really important part is just being practicing driving without being on the road. Like something that helped me a lot was just being able to practice by myself, like with my dad, or just having an instructor before. Like even when I was learning to get my license, like my dad would just try and distract me, and I would just have to kind of block him and just focus on the road and focus on what I was driving. So I feel like my dad was able to help me look past distractions. So I think that was something that was helpful.
How about yourself?
I think having precautions like getting well rested and preparing for the weather. Maybe there's like snow, you have to prepare your windshield, make sure that everything's heated correctly. If there's rain, make sure that you're driving carefully, safely, slowly. You have to really adapt to your surroundings, so I think that's a big one.
Sure. So when you were first starting off driving, because you're pretty new to driving, right? What would you say was kind of like that aha moment when you were taking all of the rules of the road together and you were kind of learning, what was, I guess, something that really came to, fruition when you started driving? Was there anything that you didn't know before you started learning the rules of the road that you think was really important, or something that you could share with fellow peers or teens?
Something I did realize was it was pretty easy to just get on the road. At least for me, I thought that it was pretty easy to just kind of go behind the wheel, take turns, and do all that, know when to stop. But I think what was difficult for me was learning to stop at each stop sign, because sometimes I would stop, but I wouldn't stop the full 3 seconds. So that was something that was difficult for me to remember. I remember that was something that I struggled with a lot.
So coming to a complete stop, or like the California stop, we see, on the road, people will sometimes, not fully stop.
Yeah.
They feel like they have come to a complete stop, and then they roll through it, the intersection, or roll through the stop sign.
And I remember my dad yelling at me a lot because I just wouldn't come to a full stop. Or sometimes I was just so focused on being on the road and driving that I would forget that there's a stop sign. I would just go past.
You gotta be careful, right?
Yeah.
Especially if the roads are bad. How about yourself?
I think something which was hard for me was to adjust my speed, especially when I was learning how to drive. I would shift between being in neighborhoods where it's 15, 20 around school zones, and then shifting to the highway where you could go up to 60, and then going back to a neighborhood, I'd kind of forget that the speed limit is not 30, 40. You have to slow it down, and sometimes that can prohibit you from noticing a stop sign or something like that.
Okay.
Another thing I do want to add to what Alexa was saying is also
absolutely.
driving too slow. That was something that I didn't realize I was doing, but driving way too slow.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's okay to go maybe like 1 or 2 above the speed limit because you
Yeah.
don't want to be too slow for the people behind you. But that's something that I was experienced and I didn't realize I was doing was just going too slow. And my parents would have to tell me like speed up, like you're
Yeah.
going too slow.
Did you ever get honked at?
Yes, I did.
Right.
Yeah, I had people like go around me like just because they couldn't handle it.
Really?
Yeah.
And then was that just on regular roads? Were you on the highways? How did that happen?
I was like by Midway, so it was like a busy street, but not really a highway.
Okay, so maybe like around Cicero
Yeah.
or like a street that had more than one lane.
Yes.
And so you're in the right lane, just going at a slower speed. You're trying to get comfortable, and which it takes time to do. So
Yeah, I think I was just too scared to go fast, so I just like was comfortable at my slow speed.
yeah, you were happy at your
Yeah.
speed. You were comfortable. You weren't being distracted,
Yeah.
and you just wanted to take your time with kind of what you were doing. So have you gotten more comfortable behind the wheel where you're not getting honked at in the right lane, or how's that?
I think for sure.
progressing?
I've definitely known like the way of the speed limit. That's okay to go like a few over just so that you're not too slow. And like also I didn't realize like how dangerous it could be to drive slowly. So definitely being comfortable. I think my fear was just like not being able to like stay in control behind the wheel. Like what if I go too fast and then like I crash or something happens?
Yeah, absolutely.
But something that helped me was going on the highway and being able to go fast. So once I got on the highway, I feel like it was really easy to just drive normally afterwards.
Got it. And how about yourself?
I feel like, yeah, my speed has really adjusted. My mother used to yell at me that I'm so fast on the neighborhoods that I could take a kid with me, but on the highway, I go as slow as like a snail's pace. So I think really going on the highway has really taught me like patience and having more confidence in myself. I feel
Absolutely.
like that's something that maybe beginner drivers lack a lot, and that really feeds on how well you can improve and stuff over time.
Here in Chicago, we have lots of different weather, right?
Yeah.
So how has your experience been driving with winter, in the snow, in the rain? Would you say you've gotten comfortable with the seasons of Chicago, or are you still kind of getting used to the roadways when the weather isn't always the best?
I would say I'm still practicing. I know when it was winter, I wasn't really comfortable yet driving, so I would have my parents drive yet.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I did experience driving with snow, but just not like a lot of snow or ice.
Sure.
And I think something that was difficult was just like when it's either raining or snowing again,
Yeah.
because it can get in the windshield. But I think practicing, I was able to get the hang of it.
Okay.
My parents had a hard time trusting me when it was snowing and there was ice on the road.
Yeah.
So I had a hard time practicing during those times because they didn't fully trust me yet.
Yeah.
But as of raining, it's been better, honestly. Like, I drove today. Honestly, I feel a lot more comfortable. It feels a lot more normal. I'm aware that I have to go slower and stuff like that. So I feel like being in Chicago has really helped my driving because you get used to the hectic weather conditions that are unpredictable.
Sure. And there's so many people out on the roads too.
Yeah.
So if there's a concert going on, or if it's summertime, people are driving out in the nice, beautiful weather. So it's depends on the weather, depends on if you have friends in the car. I mean, how's it driving with friends? Do you both have your license now?
I'm still working on
Still
my
working on
license.
yours. Okay. And how about yourself?
About to get mine.
About to get yours.
Yeah.
So are you still driving with your parent in the car?
Yes.
Yes.
And then you. How's that going? Is it distracting when they're trying to help you on the road? Like, what's some experiences driving with your parents? I promise I won't tell them.
I guess at first it was a bit frustrating because like my dad would yell at me and like I'm just trying to learn.
Sure.
And like I would make mistakes, but I didn't realize I was making mistakes, and at a point we would both get frustrated.
Okay.
But then like once you learn and once you like get the hang of it, like it was pretty easy, and like it just felt more chill. Like I was just able to drive like knowing what I was supposed to do.
Okay.
And like occasionally like I would get yelled at for like a few things, like maybe not turning when I'm supposed to or like forgetting to put my turn signal on. So
It happens.
yeah,
Right.
it happens.
It's a lesson being learned,
Lesson
right?
learned,
You know,
yes.
sometimes you forget to pop on that left turn signal, and then you make a turn, and they're like,
Yeah.
"What happened?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get there safely."
Yeah, that's definitely
Right.
like how conversations I went in the car.
And then, are you allowed to listen to music at all in the car, or is it hands at 10 and 2? And
At first, no, but then once I started practicing, yes.
okay. And how about yourself?
My mom still prefers the radio off. I
Okay.
remember when we started, my mom would heavily grip the wheel.
Yeah, it's a
'cause
big
she was
distraction,
terrified.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember yelling and stuff like that. It's so frustrating because
Uh-huh.
you're trying to focus on so many things, and then you have someone else in the car distracting you.
Yeah.
And as Yadira says, like there's so much that you have to take control of, like your turning signal, when to stop, paying attention to the signs on the road. So I feel like that was very distracting at first, very frustrating. A few tears were dropped.
We've
but,
all been there.
Yeah. But overall, I feel like it's helped me. You know, high stressful situations are now less difficult to maintain now. So I really love my mom for that, all those stressful times. But yeah, it's really helped me.
Good. Would you say that you guys are almost to the point where you're ready to start like once you do pass the driving test and you have the license, do you have like any, plans of, like going on a quick road trip and enjoying that freedom? Like, what do you guys look forward to when you do have that freedom of your driver's license?
I feel like I'm definitely looking forward to just being able to hang out with friends, or at least like getting to go places as well. Or even just, for example, like doing small errands. Like I can go get coffee by myself. Like I don't have to depend on my parents for that.
Okay.
I can go shopping. I can just go over to my friend's house. Like I don't have to stress my parents out. And another thing is like I work and my dad has to drive me to work. So like I know he complains about that a lot, but now like I'm able to depend on myself for those things.
Very cool.
I'm mainly looking forward to the fact that I can drive myself to school and from school.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes I'm exhausted and I live like 30 minutes away from my school, so it gets very frustrating sometimes that I can't immediately go home and go eat, go sleep, go change.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm really looking forward to the fact that I can drive myself to activities and stuff like that. I feel like there's been a few times where I can't go to an occasion because I have siblings, and I understand that my parents have their own things to attend to. So I remember getting frustrated with that, and now I feel like I have that freedom, as you say, to be able to go places.
Yeah. And so do you feel that when you do start driving on your own, will you're going to try your best not to be distracted? What would you say might be the hardest thing that you are working on right now to prevent yourself from being distracted?
I feel like it might be other people or like the passenger, because
Like in your car?
yeah, in my car.
Okay.
Because if I'm driving with my friends, I
Yeah.
know like I'm gonna want to be talking with them or listening to music.
Or catching up? Or,
Yeah.
Right.
So I think just remembering to pay attention to the road, and like that's the number one priority.
Sure.
That can get difficult with a lot of distractions.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely friends. My sister, because me and her have like a very bonded relationship.
Sure.
So I feel like she's younger, so I'd be able to drive her places. But I really have to keep in mind that she needs to respect my boundary of I have to keep my eyes on the road to keep her and myself and others around me safe. So I feel like that's the number one factor.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So I kind of want to transition into the Teen Ambassador program, which you both are involved. Excuse me. So the Teen Ambassador program is sponsored by Gift of Hope and Drive Safe Illinois. The Teen Ambassador program is a school calendar year from August to April. As a teen ambassador, you've worked on safety awareness campaigns, you've worked on attending town hall meetings, you've also had that peer-to-peer conversations with your friends and peers. So kind of interested to know, how did you all get involved with the Teen Ambassador program, and what's your experience been like?
Well, me and Alexa are from the same school, so we both learned about it during our last year's town hall meeting. So the teen ambassadors before us, they kind of did what we did as well, where they hosted a town hall meeting at our school and they promoted it to us. And
awesome.
I knew I was really interested in being a part of it. They really promoted how like it helps a lot of people. You're able to spread the word about how to be safe while driving, and it just was something that was really interesting to me. And then now being in this program, it has like given me a lot of experience on how to just like spread the word and spread awareness about something that is really important.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been like a really good experience for me,
Okay.
and I hope to spread it to other people around me too.
Nice. And Alexa, how about yourself?
I was interested in the program for the
Mhm.
same reason. I feel like they really captivated my attention. I felt like I wanted to be part of something like that, really
Mhm.
share the experience, because I know so many people are impacted from a simple thing like driving. I feel like that's something, driving is something we take for granted, and
Sure.
that it's
It's
not.
like a freedom.
It's a freedom
Mhm.
that could be taken away. And I feel like I was so excited throughout this entire program to be sharing with others. I feel like we really shared that enthusiasm at our town hall meeting, and I feel like a lot of our peers also shared that same enthusiasm back, and I really feel like a lot of new great ambassadors will be coming from our school, which I look forward to
That's
seeing.
awesome. So it kind of gets into what we want to talk about next was, so what have you learned as a teen ambassador, and what are you like excited to share?
I guess what we've learned is just how to get the message out to people, whether it be through like posts,
Mhm.
commercials like these, or
Sure.
town hall meetings.
Mhm.
So definitely ways of like what's the most effective for people to understand like the effects of teen driving and how to be safe, because a lot of teens, they usually don't know. They just expect it to be an easy path, like it's just an easy way to get freedom, but they don't realize that it can put you in a lot of danger, and that
Mm.
sometimes you need to just sit back and learn. So I
Okay.
think that was definitely something.
All right.
If you don't mind, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so I'm just curious, what did you learn? What was something that you really loved learning being in the Teen Ambassador program that you weren't expecting to?
I feel like something that I totally did not expect to learn was
Mhm.
like an improvement of like my self-confidence. Like I didn't
Yeah.
expect to meet so many people from different schools and different areas of Chicago.
Sure.
I feel like I really learned to like bond and cooperate with other people,
Mhm.
especially in the project with Yadira. I feel like we really got to know each other better
Yeah.
on that stance, and I feel like I really got to know the admin at my school better
Mhm.
because of it too.
Cool. So, what would you say with attending the events? What was something that you kind of were looking forward to? Like, how did the conversations go with your friends and classmates? So you talked about how you guys had a relationship that formed from it. You went to the same school, but you weren't friends before the Teen Ambassador program, right? So then, like, how are the conversations going with your friends about promoting safe driving? Because it must be difficult to talk to kids your age, and say, "Hey, driving is fun, but driving is also really important and should be safe," right?
Yeah, I remember I especially was nervous. Like we were nervous giving the town hall meeting because we did want to spread the word in an effective way, and we
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that our peers were listening to us. But it was really nice seeing the feedback and support. Like there was a lot of engagement from our town hall meeting. A lot of people were interested, and they were even interested in the program. So it was really nice to see people wanting to continue that on and being the next leaders in this program.
Yeah.
So I really loved seeing that.
Okay. And how are conversations going with your fellow peers and other classmates?
I feel like the topic itself is very serious.
Mhm.
Like driving itself is serious. It can lead to accidents. It could lead to death. It could lead to injury.
Sure.
But
In a
I
split
feel
second,
like, yeah, in
right?
a split second, totally.
Mhm.
But I feel like through our town hall meeting, for example, we made it in a way where it wasn't totally serious. Like if we felt like people could communicate in like a silly way, we really tried to connect with our age group. Because we feel like sometimes if something's so serious, people don't really want to pay attention to it because it might be a very touching topic, or simply they might find it boring. So we felt like by making it very interactive with other people, people were willing to listen and cooperate, and I feel like our message really reached through a lot better than if we had simply said, this is the consequences of driving recklessly.
Yeah. And so part of the Teen Ambassador program is creating some of the safety campaigns, right? So
Yes.
how did the safety campaign go for you guys when you created it? I think back in October, was it?
Yes.
So let's hear a little bit about that.
I really loved the first campaign we did because it showed a lot of the different distractions. Like we had, I think it was like your phone, it was like a
Cigarette.
alcohol, like all of those distractions. Because I know during our town hall meeting, we especially did this, we had a question where it's like, what is the number one distraction when it comes to teen driving? And a lot of people had different answers, but then they were kind of shocked when we said that all of them were the biggest distraction.
Oh, wow.
So I really like showing that like there's not just one big distractor. Like there's a bunch of different distractions that can just like in like a split
All
second.
evolve
Yeah.
All evolve.
into
Yeah.
None of them are more malevolent than the other. They all equally lead to a terrible fate.
Yeah, I
And
mean, it's
that's-
horrible. I mean, all it takes is just one split second. You take your eyes off the road, and it can be life changing, right? So, I believe we're going to show a little clip from the safety campaign that you guys created back in October.
A lot of the crashes are caused by beginner drivers.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share something in mind?
The amount of people who crashed over their seatbelt.
That is a really crazy statistic. Do you want to?
The amount of teens who die every day due to crashing.
Yeah, thank you guys for paying attention. Does anyone else want to add anything that they learned?
So that was from your town hall meeting. So, how was the experience?
It was definitely, we were very nervous in the beginning. We wanted to spread the message in a very effective way. And we were definitely worried about how it would go and what the reaction was going to be about it. But then once we got started, and once we saw the people's engagement and how they were really paying attention, answering questions, and even sharing their own stories about being on the road once they got their permit, it was really nice just to have that engagement and support and showing that like they do care about their own safety and they want to learn how to, I guess, prevent any dangers or be safe behind the wheel. So it was really nice to see, and I especially loved people who wanted to get involved in the program after because we also were able to promote it. So I'm really excited to see, and hopefully we have more members in the program next year from our school.
Absolutely. And how about yourself, Alexa?
We felt so nervous at the beginning.
Oh, I
Yes.
bet. How many people were, well, sorry to interrupt you, how many people were at the town hall meeting?
Well, we invited the driver's ed students from our school, so I would want to say around 60, maybe more.
There were
Okay.
2 classes.
It was
yes.
2 classes, maybe 60, around that.
All right. So
I-
a lot of nerves, I'm sure, talking in front of your
Yes,
peers. And was this
of
the
course.
first time that you talked at a town hall meeting?
Yeah,
We've presented before, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
For a different cause.
for different stuff, but yeah, for the program it was our first
For the
time.
Teen Ambassador Program, this is your first time?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, sorry. Go ahead.
It's fine. I felt so nervous, especially at the beginning, because I felt like there wasn't engagement at the very beginning. Felt very quiet. I remember asking questions and no one was raising their hands, and I felt like all my confidence was slowly shaken until eventually we pushed more questions. We searched for interactions. We searched for people's stories to tell, because I feel like maybe they feel that same pressure. You know, they might be feeling nervous or being like, I don't want to share this because I'll look a certain way. But I feel like once we like almost had an icebreaker, people were more engaged, more excited to share their story.
Okay, got the crowd more
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
Like one thing we did was share personal stories. I think like Alexa, she shared a personal story about her driving experience.
Yeah.
So like once we like kind of showed our personal stuff, then they decided to open up and they were willing to share more about their own experiences driving.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what was the experience that you shared with the hall?
I don't recall actually off the top of my head.
It was the Harlem, wasn't like driving on busy roads, I think.
I think, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I brought up how I was joking around, talking about how, so has anyone like driven on Harlem, because it's a very busy street that's, I think is parallel to our school.
Okay.
And I feel like that's one that maybe a lot of people might have gotten an accident, into an accident on.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know a lot of people cross that, especially because of the bus stops and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I feel like through our town hall meeting, a lot of people were like open or subjected to a program that maybe, or a cause that they were interested in, but they didn't know where to go to.
Got it.
Yeah, luckily none of them were in accidents when we asked
Yes.
them.
Well, that's very important, and that's very very good that had happened. So kind of wrapping up the Teen Ambassador Program experience, you know, are you excited to, it sounds like you're excited about the program itself and you're excited to kind of spread that word. So what would you say was your favorite experience about the Teen Ambassador Program?
I really liked the town hall meeting we did. I think that was
Yeah.
probably my favorite moment, just because like it was something that you could see being brought to life. Like we did do all of those promotions, but those were mainly online, so you didn't really get to see the engagement.
Yeah.
So like, especially working with Alexa on it, like she had a lot of great ideas and she did a lot of good job. It was really nice working together on that project. So like being able to work with her and just bringing it to life and seeing, like being able to physically see that impact and the engagement was really impactful for me, and I really liked that.
Cool. And how about yourself?
Definitely the town hall meeting.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
felt like I was able to bring out my creativity through the PowerPoint because I really love editing, but it's
Yeah.
not something that I do constantly. So I feel like mixing it with public speaking, with a cause that I care about,
Yeah.
and then maybe my artistic ability that really helped show and express myself in a way that I couldn't imagine before. And I feel like through joining the program, other people could do that as well.
Yeah. So are you kind of right now spreading the word about the Teen Ambassador program and trying to get that next class excited?
Yes,
And
we're especially spreading it to people who already have their permits and licenses,
Nice.
so that since they have their experience, they can share it with others, like we did.
Right. Well, right now we are accepting applications to visit or to apply to be a Teen Ambassador program. You can visit the SafeLIGHT Foundation website, which is www.safelightfoundation.org. Pardon me, www.safelightfoundation.com to apply for the Teen Ambassador program. Well, ladies, want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be with us on the show. Before we wrap, is there any last couple of advice or any last things you want to say to the audience?
I guess practice driving, please. You do want to get that experience before you get your license. It is really important to get those hours in so that you are aware of what to expect.
Yeah.
Be confident. Being on the road, it could really shake your confidence, and it really affects your performance on the road. And by being confident, you really show all your skills put into one. Remember to pay attention to the road, listen to your instructor, and most importantly, your parents who are helping you along the way.
All they do is, the parents are important to listen to, right?
Yes.
At the end of the day, they want what's best for you both, right?
Yes,
So,
of course.
well, thank you so much for joining us. That's it for today. And everyone out there, please remember to drive safe, drive right with SafeLIGHT. Have a great day.